Hi everybody, welcome back. It's been far too long since I've done a video, and this one people have been asking for on my Instagram. So the video I'm going to do today is going to be a plant to plant tour of every plant inside both of my cabinets. And what I'm going to do as well, so you can just skip to the areas that you need. So I'm going to be doing cabinet 1, top and bottom, so you can jump to those sections, and then cabinet 2, top and bottom. So it is going to be plant tour only. The bits that are inside it I may mention, but I'm not going to go into any specifics. There are other videos that I've done on that. So let's check out the plant tour. Cabinet number 1, my very first IKEA cabinet. Let's go and have a look inside. So the top shelf of plant cabinet number 1, it's pretty crammed in here, busy, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot going on. But if we start top left and sort of work our way around, and if you have any questions about any specifics, then please just comment and I'll try my best to reply back afterwards. But up here we've got an anthurium medium. So this is a fresh cutting that I've made. And there's a nice new root there, which is pretty cool. This is actually the first melanocryzum I've got, and I've got quite a few of them now. It was just a wet stick. This is quite old, but look how tiny it is. In fact, I just need to get rid of this or give it to somebody that wants to have a Milano. And here we've got a Hoya rotundiflora. I think it's really quite blocky and square type. But I've been getting into my Hoyas, and this is the top cabinet's got quite a lot of Hoyas in there. This is another Hoya. I think it's called Hoya polyneura. This one hasn't actually made any new growth on it since I've potted it up, but there's quite a lot of roots in there. And then we've got a Piper, and this one is a Piper crocatum, not ornatum. So from what I know, the difference between them is crocatum has a very red back and this kind of shaped leaf, whereas the ornatum doesn't have that colour back. I think it's more sort of green coloured, but it is a beautiful plant. I mean, the pink in it is amazing. It's kind of like blocks and etchy. It's cool. And then I've got a Monstera dubia cutting here with a stick hanging out of it, and the stick is just to help, I'm hoping I can show you this, it's just to help the new growth, but there's a new growth point just sticking up there, and I didn't want it bashing against the edge of the pot, so that was just to help lift it out. But yeah, once that new growth's come out, I'm going to put this on a plank. That's the dubia. Really love that cutting. And this is my Anthurium variegata. It's got lots of splits in the leaves now, which is kind of normal. It's really nice coloration on that. And that was growing from a sort of wet sticky type thing as well. It's rooted really well. And actually I've put that in pond. Lots of my plants in here now are in pond and they love it. So, scooching down, some Hoyas. So we've got a Hoya calistophylla, I think. Some new growth there. And one of the things that I did learn was about putting them on some kind of trellis. I mean, I totally suck at this kind of metal trellising, but I'm learning. And to try and keep the top end of the growth point so it's kind of still pointing up a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. If I'm doing that wrong, let me know. And then here we've got a Villosa Cow Dang Vietnam. This is so cool. I mean, the foliage is super waxy and shiny, and then underneath it's really hairy. It's bizarre. This really made me want to get into Hoyas. I had a couple of cuttings, but as soon as I got that one, I was like, whoa, they're so interesting. Just here we have a Globulosa, which was a gift from a botanical garden, grown from this cutting here, which is 2 leaves, and then this is the new section growing out of it. This one here, I think it's called a Snow Queen, but this one is fresh cutting. It's just rooting in there, so there's a lot of growth happening, or to happen. Just here we've got another Piper cutting, and this one is now rooting in there. It might not look it, but there's 2 little rooties sticking out there, not the black ones, the ones on the left side. So that's coming about now. This is a tiny Anthurium variegata cutting that I took off that other plant. And then just here at the front, oh, this is such a cool Hoya. This is Hoya obovata. And if I'm saying the names wrong, you know, I'm trying my best. But that's what I think that they're called. But yeah, Hoya obovata, again in pon, like I think all of these cuttings are at the moment. This is a Hoya Kerrii Splash, or Kerrii Splash. That's the only new growth it's made, just there. And then we've got a Hoya Mathilda Splash. I mean, this one's so splashy. I've seen others and they're kind of green with a bit of splash on them, but this one's mega splash. Love that. Then we've got a Piper Sylvaticum growing from a cutting. And these are really cool because when the new leaves come out, they're very pinky, very silvery and shiny, and then they sort of go like this. So it's a cool Piper to have. Here I've got some bulbs, and there's a mixture in there of black velvet and dragon scale. This is one I've just got recently. It is a variegated Syndapsus. So I think they call it variegated jade Syndapsus. So it's got mottled variegation there, but this leaf that's just come out, I think that's going to have quite a few blocks of variegation. This is my Bullmarks Fantasy, and it's the newest leaf on here, so it's a bit soft at the moment, but that's the original leaf, grown from this leaf cutting here, and now it's growing up here, and there's another leaf coming out actually just there. So beautiful, beautiful plant. I mean, the foliage, I don't know whether it comes out on there. There's a lot of sunlight at the moment because of the time of day, but the detail in the leaf, unreal. And this is my Brantianum. This is another recent purchase, and I've put that in pon and up pole. And you know, you don't have to use these kind of moss poles. You can use any poles or planks, just as long as they've got some kind of support. But if you're going to give them support, definitely use a plank or a pole rather than a cane. I think it just gives it a little bit more. Some of my original Brantianum cuttings, they're rooting in there. And then this is my Syndapsus tribui or tribuii dark form. That's there. This one I think is called a Skindapsus. I keep saying it wrong. It's Skindapsus Silver Lady, I think. And then this one's not the platinum, it's the other one. I think it's Silver Hero. And that's a fresh cutting. When I say fresh, it's actually a month old now, I think. And it's just making a bulbous piece just down here. See if I can show you it. So there's a new growth area just coming up just there. So I'm going to get new leaves on that. What else haven't I shown you on the top? I think that's everything. So it's pretty rammed. So that's the top. I tell you what I will do is I'll show you the plants that are on top of the cabinet as well. So I've got a Clarinervium, a variegated Ceropegia. This is a Gloriosum. New leaf coming out the back there. Some Syngonium mojito cuttings. And that's on this cabinet. And now let's go and have a look at the next level down. So there's a lot of interesting plants and it looks a mess, but this cabinet is what I mostly use for my cuttings and my experiments, but there are a few full plants in here. So like this Veitchii narrow form. And I have to admit something to you, everybody. I partially snapped the new leaf. So I've given it a bit of support there, but that has sort of scabbed over and kind of recovered, which I'm amazed at because the damage was quite severe. Like it looked like 90 or 80% of it had been snapped off. This is my Dioscorea discolor. Absolutely love this plant. I mean, the feel of it, it's like silky and papery at the same time, and the patterns and the shine. And depending on the light, I mean, like I said, it's really sunny right now facing here, so there's a lot of yellow light. So not everything comes out looking the best when the sun's directly on it because it's quite yellowy. But that is a babe of a plant. Back here, I've got a wild form. I think they call it wild form, but it's Brantianum, and they call it wild form. I don't even know whether that's a real thing, but it does have some similarities to the Brantianum up the top. It's just not as silvery. Right at the front, there's a little baby Pilia mojito, And these are my baby anthurium crystallinums that I've grown from seed. This is all I've got left now here. This is a bit of a sad story. So this was the first and only Philodendron Florida Beauty cutting that I got. So it was this leaf here, and then it grew this leaf here, which is okay. But now everything that is growing is just 100% variegated, and that's not what I want, because the plant won't be able to keep itself going like that. You want it sort of mixed. So what I'm waiting for is this chunk down here to really fatten up and grow a bit more, and I'm actually going to cut again, because as you can see there's a mixed colouring here, and that's what I want to maintain really. So I'll probably end up cutting again here to try and get the plant to be more mixed variegated, which is what you want. There's a baby Micholitziana here, and I actually don't want this. I need to sell this one or give this one away because I've got quite a few of them now downstairs. Some Cebu blue cuttings, and I think these are called Syngonium red spot back here. Let's try and get the camera in. Yeah, there's two here. This is again a funny story. So I had a cutting that I got from somebody and I thought it was dead, and I nearly gave up, so I asked if I could have another one, so she gave me another one, and then this one actually sprouted from the dead twig, so you know, it rose from the ashes. And then right back here we've got an elbow Syngonium. Absolutely love that, and I'm just waiting for that to get a little bit more established, and it's definitely gonna go on a pole of some kind. What else have I got here? I've got a tiny Syngonium Grey Ghost, I think it's called. So I think these have two names. They're called Grey Ghost or Green Splash. It's really small at the moment, but it's rooted and it's happy and it's growing, so I'm happy. And then over here, this sort of plant that's sort of getting in the way is, I'm trying to remember the name, it's called Philodendrons mirabilis. So it's the plant that sort of grows from a cordex like this. The leaves actually move, so in the day and the night they open and close. So at night time they close like a fan, and they look, the colour is beautiful. They are really kind of peachy, pinky purple. I prefer them to the top actually. And another gift was a pink princess. And I had one of these ages ago, and I sort of gave up on it. I think it got thrips and it just disheartened me, but this one has been coming out with bits of pink, so that's really cool. Oh yeah, and I've got a begonia down here, which is a begonia amphioxus. And these are everywhere now. You can buy those super cheap, but at one point they were really pricey. And that is the lower shelf of cabinet 1. Cabinet number 2. Let's go in. And this is the top shelf of cabinet number 2. Now, if you know anything about me and you know me on Instagram and other places, you know I love anthurium. So I wanted to make a whole cabinet really just sort of dedicated to anthurium. I'm going to try now and name them all and maybe tell you where I got them from, like sort of regions and people. So this was the very first Veitchii that I got, and I got this from some guy in Germany. I don't know what his name is, but you know, that's a really old leaf now. And there's another really old leaf just there. But that's just sort of like a regular Veitchii, and the one I was really hunting for was that long form, which you would have seen in the first cabinet. And then I got gifted a second Veitchii, which was a lot smaller than that one, and I'd say that this one now has more than doubled compared to that one. So yeah, I'll probably have to get rid of one of these because I just don't have the space. Here's one of the things with cabinets, right? Plants grow, and especially anthuriums and philodendrons grow quick. They take up a lot of space, so I will need to be thinking about selling some plants, which is really difficult to talk about because I love them. Or swapping them, something like that. Okay, so up here we've got two types of Peleona, and I see this mistake all the time. So this is Peleona pulchra or pulchria, and then this is repens or repens. But they're both Peleona types. One's sort of growing in a little tub there, and this one's growing in here. And they're actually just growing in moss. And they're great for terrariums as well. They grow across the floor and up the little walls and things. Over here we've got an anthurium, and this is the one I don't really know what it is. It's definitely some kind of crystallinum type. makes huge leaves, bigger than my head. And I did try to self-pollinate this one and it failed. It made a berry, but it just rotted. But I've been given a second chance. So there's another inflorescence just growing there, and I've managed to get pollen, so fingers crossed, not thumbs up, that I managed to make a success of it this time. But it's so nice. I mean, the leaves are really velvety. It's super big. That's its newest leaf, I think. And then hopefully after that, it'll make another one. Down here we have a Forgetii white stripe, and it's the darker form. And I have grown lots of pups off this. And can you see all these little sort of sandy bits, these grains here? They're actually my used mites. So I order these mites in to protect my plants from thrips. And they're just sort of like the spent ones. So I need to give this a wash off really. But that's the Forgetii white stripe. And then over here we have Anthurium Silver Blush, I think it's called. I think that's a blush. I can't remember now. There's two that look really, really quite similar, but this one I've just noticed is making a new leaf there. This one is actually my favourite crystallinum. I mean, I've got some expensive ones in here, but this one's not my most expensive, and it just proves that price isn't everything. I love this plant. It's my utter favourite. This is a crystallinum silver, and it makes super dark leaves. In fact, its other leaf is way back here. But the veining is unreal. And so this is my pride and joy. I just think it's an amazing example of an anthurium. And each leaf gets bigger and bigger, obviously. And I mean, that's not its original leaf since I've had it. I think I got this one from Spain, from somebody in Spain. I can't remember their name anymore. But you can't get plants from Europe into the UK now. This is my Anthurium luxurians. This is the first leaf it made once I got it in the UK, so it looks really beautiful. I've had that a while. The other two leaves, which are quite original, as you can see, they're kind of crispy at the bottom. And that's expected, you know, because this has come from Ecuador or Ecuador. And, you know, they're the leaves that are in that environment, and this is a leaf that's grown in my environment, so it's happy. But it is, I spotted this morning. Just there's a new leaf come in, and they look so cool when they come out. I mean, they change colour. They sort of have like a burgundy, orangey colour, and then they go to this sort of greenish, scaly colour like that. Pretty nice. Let's show you some plants at the top of the cabinet. So we've got another Anthurium clarinervium, and the anthuriums that are on top and around the house, they're all in pon as well. There's just a little Alocasia caprea here, growing from a bulb, a couple of Monstera alba variegatas, and then just hanging here is my Melanocryosum and a subpinnata, Monstera subpinnata. But let's have a look downstairs. So there's a lot of propagations and separations and things like that going on here, but so we'll start at the back. So this is Anthurium Forgetii white stripe. It doesn't have anything on it right now, and that's because I used this stump and the one below to pull all these pops off. So they just keep giving for me. So I've had quite a lot of pops come off them. This one's actually been water burned because I overwatered that one, so that leaf's gone. I've just got to wait for the new one. So yeah, Forgetii white stripes, and there's a mixture between darks and the sort of paler green coloured. Just under here there's my last crystallinum seed that I'm growing. Here is the very first Warocreanum that I got. Its original leaf is gone. In fact, the whole thing rotted away, and I've grown this again back, and it's just making another leaf here. And this is my Anthurium regale. The same thing happened to this, lost everything when I got it. It rotted away, and I've grown that back from a stump. And this, I actually prefer this to the one that I got from Ecuador. So I got this one from the UK, and this one came from Ecuador, and this is another regale, and I prefer that one. It's way more shinier, and the leaf feels completely different to this one. It might be because it's slightly more mature, but they're that's got my heart. This one's a bit meh. This is just a regular anthurium crystallinum. Don't knock them, they're amazing. I know I say regular, but there's nothing wrong with them. And these do well, like clarinerviums. You don't need to have them in a cabinet. They can adapt really easy into just a room. Over here we have, oh, I've missed this one in the middle. This is my other Warocreanum that I got from Equigenera. And I know this has got a new leaf, there you go. That's its newest leaf that is just opening up there. It's going to start pushing that one out bigger. This one is what the Indonesians call an ace of spades, and it's not what the rest of the world recognises as an ace of spades, because ace of spades is normally quite dark foliage, but sort of the leaf shape and the veining looks quite similar. So I've sort of called this one a green Indonesian ace of spades. It's still really nice. I mean, it is really velvety, so it's a nice one to have. This is my one and only pure Magnificum. It's looking unhappy just there now, but that's a really old leaf. Magnificums have sort of square petioles, and they have really protruding veins coming out like this. But I'm just waiting for this one to make me some pollen, because that'll be quite a nice plant to have pollen from. This one here is a Splendidum type, so I don't think it's 100% Splendidum, but it's a nice little anthurium nonetheless. This is another, oh no, this is actually a seed that I've grown. These are seedlings that I've grown. This is a Forgetii X Magnificum. So it has got a bit of silver showing in there, but it's definitely Forgetii X Magnificum. And then randomly, I have an oxalis back here, and this is Oxalis ortigeisi, the tree oxalis that makes yellow flowers. It's not looking too happy right now because I've taken a cutting from it and I've just given it water it needed. Water bad. That's the video, everybody. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I promise to do some more videos for you soon.